My never I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Before we deal with the main subject matter for today's encounter, we wish to first express our deepest sympathies to our brothers and sisters of the North, South, and Central Tongue districts of the Volta region who have been displaced by the devastating spillage of the Akosombo Dam a few days ago. Even as we sympathize with the victims of this disaster, we wish to reiterate the important call that has been made by our leader and flag bearer, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, for the government of Ghana, acting through the Volta River Authority and the National Management Organization NADMO and other relevant state agencies, to immediately provide the needed support for residents in the affected communities. This must be done with a sense of urgency to ameliorate the plight of our suffering compatriots, many of whom have been rendered homeless by this devastating disaster. And to our brothers and sisters, we know that this is a very difficult time for you, but I'm here on behalf of the leadership of the NDC to let you know that we stand with you and we will continue to do our best through your members of parliament and our leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as we have already started to provide you with the needed support. And let me also use this opportunity and all persons who have the capacity and the ability to come to the aid of our brothers and sisters in South, North, and Central Tongue. Please don't renege on lending a helping hand to these compatriots of ours, because they really need our help. Having said this, let me now move to the main reason why we are gathered in this auditorium today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the media, the NDC has cited a rather disgusting, self-serving, and bizarre advice from the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, on the report on the work of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, authored by its chairman and former Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Having meticulously analyzed the content of the Attorney General's legal opinion, we have come to the irresistible conclusion that the said advice is nothing but a poor attempt to cover up the complicity of officials of the Akufo-Addo NPP government in the illicit galamsey trade. For the avoidance of doubt, the claims by Mr. Godfred Yeboah-Dame that there is no evidence to substantiate the damning revelations contained in the 36-page Frimpong Boateng galamsey report are simply false. The Attorney General's latest step, or call it misstep, on the subject of this all-important scathing galamsey report is part of the coordinated efforts to whitewash the crimes of many in government since the matter broke. Friends from the media, contrary to what the Attorney General has come out to the whole world about the lack of evidential value of the Frimpong Boateng galamsey report, there are ample pieces of evidence in the public domain that go to confirm several of the damning revelations contained in the said report. It is against this backdrop we call this press conference, and the Attorney General Godfrey about just a few of the hard corroborative pieces in the public domain which lends credence to defense that Sessions professor. And what the 36 speech from Pomba and said about them. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a video documentary published by Joy News titled Forest Under Siege contains incontrovertible video evidence that confirms the assertions of Watson to the effect that Emmanuel Do, owner of CJ Alaska and Imperial Heritage Limited, has under the guise of prospecting engaged in illegal mining in the Krobo section of the Pamprama Forest Reserve in the Amansia area of the Ashanti region. This video documentary buttresses and confirms the assertions in the Frimpong. Sometime in 2018, the Anti-Galamsey Task Force arrested and seized about 30 excavators and mining equipment belonging to the company for engaging in illegal mining in the crop. This incident was captured on video by Morty Sasaredon in the presence of other eyewitnesses who are still alive today. At the time of the seizure of the equipment, the company had destroyed about 1,000 hectares of the forest when all they had was a prospecting license. These are indisputable facts. I repeat, these are indisputable facts. And the weight of such evidence cannot be glossed over by any impartial investigator or prosecutor. And for the avoidance of doubt, for those who have not seen this, we shall show you snipers of the documentary. And if Godfrey Dame is listening or watching, he should pay attention. The evidence he claims he cannot find, we are going to give him that evidence for him to know that his claim that the Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report is bereft of evidence is nothing but palpable falsehood calculated to whitewash the crimes of NPP functionaries and apparatchiks who have been caught to be engaged in illegal mining. Shall we play snipers of the Forest Under Siege documentary now?
Apamprama Forest Reserve is surrounded by 5 major communities. Apamprama Forest Reserve is surrounded by 5 major communities: Kobro, Abuakwa, Obenenebing, Aponapong, Ankam, Mansoafede, and Musikrum. As of 2018, Apamprama served the timber needs of about 8 timber firms legally recognized as felon rights holders of the production forest. This is the Kobro community, an old town which sits deep within the Apamprama Forest Reserve. Residents still have fresh memories of how the destruction of the Kobro section of the reserve started in 2018. One by one, they tell me of how the late Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Sir John, in 2018 convinced the townsfolk that the government was undertaking a reclamation exercise in the forest.
Initially, they said they were covering pits, but then they started building settlements. We wondered why they were setting up shelters if they were just covering pits. Then a number of machines were brought in, so we mobilized to demonstrate. But Sir John came in and assured us they were just planting trees. But after a month when we went back, the forest was crawling a lot of miners.
That began a series of events that marked the woes and destruction of a once beautiful natural forest. A forest entry permit was granted to Unique Star Point Company Limited to carry out reclamation activities on some portions of the forest reserve in November 2017. In the same year, a forest entry permit was granted to Heritage Imperial Company Limited to conduct prospecting activities in December 2017. Unique Star Point Company Limited and Heritage Imperial Company Limited belong to Emmanuel Donald Intua and Reynolds Kwabi. Contrary to mining regulations, what was supposed to be prospecting and reclamation of the Apamprama Forest Reserve turned out to be active mining of the reserve with over 18 excavators and a number of bulldozers.
The forest became a no-go area. We could not enter the forest. They mounted huge barriers. They brought in bodyguards. I used to drive some miners into the forest. We had to endure drills from the military. We concluded that these people were sent from the top.
The illegal activity in the Kobro section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve went on for months under the watch of the Forestry Commission.
So this devastation went on, and the Apraman Forest Reserve sites are right here. The Forestry Commission says it had no evil, it did not see anybody bringing in heavy equipment. This has lasted for close to a year. No government official got wind of it, or nobody was prepared to even face them.
After failed attempts by Operation Vanguard and other security agencies to stop the illegality, the Interministerial Task Force on Illegal Mining moved in to stop the pillaging of the forest. The law does not allow the use of heavy earth-moving equipment in prospecting in forest areas, but Imperial Heritage Mining Limited in 2018 was actively mining the reserve with about 30 excavators using a prospecting license.
Task Force Commander W1 Isaac Nyako is overwhelmed by the wanton destruction of forest.
Indeed, this is the largest. In fact, I don't even know how to start and how to end. I'm even shocked seeing the ground like this. The largest so far at this very site.
The company had destroyed a large part of the forest under prospecting, a crime they were never punished for. Nanayao Enin is the chief of Kobro. He indicates Imperial Heritage came back to mine in the forest after it was driven out.
Sir John met the whole community and told us they were doing reclamation. But in the end, when they mined and Ajikun burnt his machines, he came back to mine in the forest. The soldiers and the Forestry Commission know he came back.
In 2021, Imperial Heritage was back mining in the Odaho section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve, this time with a mining lease. This was at a time when the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, had declared forest reserves and water bodies red zones and restricted areas where no mining should be allowed to take place.
We are pursuing that strongly.
The minister also instructed the Forestry Commission to desist from issuing forest entry permits for purposes of mineral prospecting or mining in any forest reserve. But in 2021, my team met Imperial Heritage Mining Limited and its Chinese miners mining the Odaho section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve under the protection of over 30 fully armed military men.
Sometimes we don't do things like that.
After our expose of the illegality in 2021, the military personnel were withdrawn, but authorities are yet to make public findings on who assigned them. The chief of Kobro, Nanayao Enin, narrates how he and his elders were treated when they confronted military men who besieged the forest to protect other miners in 2022.
On Monday, I, my linguist, and some of my elders took a trip deep into the forest. We met a barrier manned by armed soldiers. This was in 2022. I introduced myself as the chief of Kobro and caretaker of the forest for Bekwai Paramountcy. I told them we've noticed some activity in the forest. We demanded to see their documents so we could inform the king of their presence. The soldier called the owner of the mining site on phone and told him of our presence. His boss told him to ask us whether the forest is owned by the government or the people of Kobro. We couldn't challenge the armed soldiers, so we left.
Since then, other illegal miners have joined the fray.
Now look at this. You can drive miles of devastation caused to this reserve.
The once green Apamprama Forest Reserve has been largely reduced to a wasteland. Valuable tree and animal species are all gone.
Maybe this is the only green that is still active, but valuable trees, the flora and fauna, animals, the river Addo, which lies dirty here, they are all gone.
In the face of evidence of the chiefs and people, the youth of Krobo testifying to the illegal mining operations of Donald and CJ Alaska, now Heritage Imperial, how can he say that there is no evidence to prosecute the company? What does he need to do to confirm that the company only had a prospecting license and that the company was engaged in illegal mining? Did the police even visit the said site where, according to Frimpong Boateng, the illegal mining took place? Did they speak to the chief? Did they speak to the people? Did they speak to multimedia and the other journalists who were part of this mission or this assignment? The answer is a big no. And that is because Ghana's Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame does not have the interest of the people of this country at heart. The disputable fact that the Professor Frimpong Boateng reports contains evidence to the fact that the Central Regional Vice Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic, Horace Ekwawusi, and others were deeply involved in the missing excavator scandal. In fact, Frimpong Boateng, as Minister for Environment, reported the then Central Regional Vice Chairman, Ekwawusi, and the then Central Vice Chairman, Central Regional Security Coordinator, John Uforiata, and others to the police as persons responsible for the missing excavators in 2019. The advice of the Attorney General recounts how the statement of one Setmante, a journalist previously with Accra-based Peace FM, in which former first a member of Galamstop, and that in the course of the operation of Galamstop, he became a contact boy for miners whose excavators were seized by the task force. In a statement to the police, Setmante confessed that miners were directed by John Oforiata to pay between 50,000 and 55,000 into his bank account at NIB to influence the anti-Galamsey task force to release the seized excavators. Setmante further stated that all the monies paid into his bank accounts were withdrawn by him and paid to the Central Regional Security Coordinator John Oforiatta, who gave Ekwawusi his share. According to Setmante, about 27 of the seized excavators were released to these miners. All these facts, friends from the media, are contained in Setmante's own statement, which he gave to the police upon his arrest in 2019. And this statement is contained in the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report. And in fact, when the police contacted Professor Frimpong Boateng, according to the Attorney General, he gave them this statement again, which is in their custody, by the way, and added the official bank statement of the NIB account of Setmante, which was used to receive these bribes. For those of you who may not have seen the statement, we'll project it on the screen now. This is Setmante's own statement to the police, given. And in fact, it may not be eligible from the screen, but we're going to circulate copies of that so that you can read for yourself. He confessing to the fact that he facilitated the payment of bribes to government functionaries for the release of these excavators. In the face of this smoking gun evidence, what other evidence does any reasonable prosecutor need to prosecute Setmante, John Oforiatta, or Ekwawusi for the stolen or missing excavators? In any case, what has the police done about this scandal since the matter was formally reported by Professor Frimpong Boateng in 2019? The Attorney General should tell Ghanaians about the outcome of this investigation, if any, and how, as AG, he worked with the police to thoroughly investigate this matter in the interest of the public. Why are the likes of Fiṛes Ekwawusi, Setmante, and John Oforiatta, who are the key perpetrators of this crime, still walking free? Why is Godfred Ami deferring the prosecution of the culprits in this matter under the guise of further investigations in the face of such smoking gun evidence? How many years, ladies and gentlemen, does the police need to investigate this open and shut matter? The evasive and shameless Attorney General, who is clearly out to pervert justice, must answer these pertinent questions. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, on the issue of the complicity of Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam, former Member of Parliament for Mansour Dubia, in the illegal sale of mining concessions, the former regional NADMO boss and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party, listen to his title, former Ashanti regional NADMO boss appointed by President Akufo-Addo, and former first regional vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region, by name Kwamina Senchire, has publicly corroborated the assertions by Professor Frimpong Boateng. In an interview on Kumasi-based Sumpa FM, Kwamina Senchire recounted how Mr. Albert Kwam approached him and asked that he provides him with his company's certificate for a mining concession. Kwamina Senchire went on to say in the said interview that after supplying Mr. Kwam with his company's certificate, he was called by the Minerals Commission one day and given documents pertaining to the ownership of a mining concession, only for the concession to be sold to another person by name Ejawusu without his consent. Kwamina Senchire asserted that he recorded one of his conversations with Mr. Albert Kwam and has evidence of these matters. He further averred that he has officially reported the matter to the police, national security, and the Office of Special Prosecutor, and that he is willing to testify to these issues. And many of you may be hearing this for the first time. So we will play to you snippets of the said interview. And you will see this Ashanti regional vice chairman of the NPP, a man who was appointed not too long ago by President Akufo-Addo to be the Ashanti regional NADMO boss, confessing, confirming, and vindicating the position of Professor Frimpong Boateng that Mr. Albert Joseph Kwam used his position as a member of the Minerals Commission to acquire mining concessions which he sold to NPP functionaries. The main reason for losing his seat. Can we hear that tape now? In fact, it's a video.
Anope mamin kwa humano so na mene kwabran se ncheju twen komo. Anope mamin kwa humano so na mene kwabran se ncheju twen komo all the way from Canada. Honorable kwabran se nchire former NADMO boss Asante Mantemwa, former first vice NPP. Me watching.
You say we are
Now what to say?
Nyame adom me ho ye papa na mo so
me so me ho ye pa anopai ye frɛ wa ensem e wo Ghana web ni ade na se wo be hia se wo so kyerɛ wudiem esan sɛ ɛfa wo ho o certificate e dia common concession ama e ho abasem de na wo kafa ho na me mo ate sɛ ye wura prof kwam e wa ahoma no so enti sama wo ka bia no
that's papa
wo tiew ma yentiew
me that's pa se wo so o man se dia wo kire mu no ma me kire na so come up hin na me kire open so 3.1 enukre na se dia asem no fare by no enie emre bi me wo ho office me galamse ni minimu na pattern na me na kora me hunu bi da
correct.
And I prof come by. And I say, your certificate I am famra. Now when concession my I'm seeing the minimum to me French and Akins and Akins by. And the teacher you did in Koma. And a better Muse or best man I call Biaba. I call me by for 2 months. I call me famano. NTM sa kola na friend na ya today bia no offer me to one time bi na offer say oh chairman nam so wo he no so me wo airport runabout shell wo nam si twa me e ko nam de command no man ti bia bio enti busumi e chi bebrebe e na me hu say Minerals Commission for afre me say me na me concession ma apply for concession won si ana no nam si me nyili say me no oh and then when ke incentive nam see yes me company no enti me frɛ obi and me busa ne say ah na Mineral Commission for ma frɛ me say and no say koji nam see yo enti nam say call back nam say o minia pacha me na my busy enti me media and no busa my address nam say oh na say once I would give me telephone number na frɛ me media na say me na megie man hu bibia bio enti ni wo wana video bi baaye sa man no aje wusu no se ya shi ni concession enti so ya ni pani a wo ye regional coordinator kan ko fiata ni wo no so ma se mbefre me ena ko fiata si hankrofo bi adwuma bi omokoye ye no eye wudia nam sisa no so wudia nam so okay
eye wudia se concession no ye de udin na ato so ye de certificate na age concession no
exactly
okay
and I'm say ene be say hankrofo ifre mi na eye no a enti wo muana me yese me Professor Kwam ena me hu no obaye during the time wa man ye ajawusu me video no a enti obaye no so me me kwa na me koye na recording so hye me ho ena me ne Prince current atuma kwa homa DC me ne koye on so me aketwa no enti mi ka chen so me RCC no so woma RCC wo so woma enti okogina ye frɛ ho say Rotary Park as a Rotary Park
Rotary Park
na ma hu nti atire na ya Rectory Park or True Communication any issue or kind of become ye. And the one of the Munano, and you call ye a ye buy, EP. Now, when EP a dear me company, but we change phone number no. And to say EP a dear, almost free a but concession no, almost free. And here, I'm saying no. It's suma my call Minerals Commission. You call a Mineral Commission to me, say, would Jessica. And Sunny a ye, sir, map will be say layout in Biama. And I'm a Jessica no me, mammy. Nay, a Miami, the end of a phone number name address in the baby.
Quabran, Timmy, Emrenti, the Amibu Sani. You're a prof come. I said, when you see ya, I will run near you in Echino. And there are some no catch them. Or G2 Musa concession certificates now the man, no. I don't know the man, Papa, a question excavators now answer day.
On Kano Craig, would you make come back? Ain't he? A year and I'm see Dabby, assemble battery. And I'm a call CID headquarters and I'm call ye case. Na me show me BBA na me fan a BBA document BIA family certificate won buy because me say BIA that be internal revenue for and now say BB and once a member when si for ni madance here any ye BBA enti ye invite no buy a chi no oni me lawyer so no kan say enya me media na me media ni wo ho ana ye nyina me ni ASP opoku CID and you know, I mean, no, call that time crime officer, I mean, to me, was on the door, Cosmos. And the Professor Kwame say, and then what? Na a year, maybe the hour, and I'm so many problem, yeah, no, I would say. And no more fair, yeah, Lands Commission. Say Lands Commission for woman Kosusu. Yeah, call Lands Commission, or by the mechanic, the pioneer friend Linda. Eti Linda kaso beju obia ka yes 3,300 say 3,005 itwa me the professor kwa me so wo kwa ba bisine mai mampaba ena me ko hu me san ye ya investigation na me ko hu abrante be friend Patrick ono so wo man so wa wono na ye idi ne friend say wo ye surveyor ena Patrick no admit say yes ono ko na ye ho adwuma. And no, I could be a Jewusu. And then, me catch a Patrick say, on for a Jewusu phone, mammy, one farm, I'm saying, on phone or no phone, on corner me a Jewusu Casa. And I'm near Jewusuna Casai, and a Jewusu say, on the only be a continue for Professor Kwam, and Coco, no, maybe a dance here, mammy. That was the words of a Jewusu. And I'm so good. And to me, I prepare be beard out. Na na me nchade enu achi ase enu na me hwehwe ade ni mu na me ko hu se aja wusu na sa ye video Professor from Posterity so abonidin enti send email as petition e koma special prosecutor masadi bisu ko national security and send a massive threat police for the say omo update omo organizing all the document concerning that particular case now the baba ye no now so I'm ready for litigation because so I'm ready for litigation.
Hold it there for me.
No.
But I say Prof Kwame
and the former regional vice chairman of the NPP in the Ashanti region and a former appointee of this government, a confession in the face of a confession by a willing witness who is readily identifiable and available to testify. How can the Attorney General say that there is no evidence to buttress the findings or revelations contained in the Frimpong Boating Galamsey report relative to the sale of mining concessions by Albert Kwam? If we may ask, did the police or the Attorney General invite Mr. Kwabna Senche or consider his testimony on this matter before coming to the conclusion that the report is bereft of evidence? Has the police even conducted any credible investigations into the official complaints that was lodged with them by Mr. Kwamna Sinche? Has the police invited Mr. Albert Kwam to respond to the serious allegations leveled against him by Mr. Kwamna Sinche? Friends from the media, per our intel from our reliable sources within the Ghana Police Service, no serious action has been taken by the police on this important matter. And in fact, same was not considered at all in the investigations into the Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report, which returned a verdict by the Attorney General that there is no evidence to buttress the findings in the report. In a related matter in respect of Akonta Mining Limited, a company owned by the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the ruling New Patriotic Party, Bernard Antribo Siakon, aka Chama Wuntumi, it has been established beyond every reasonable doubt that the company illegally entered and operated in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve in breach of our mining and environmental laws. This fact was confirmed by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources publicly in a press statement dated the 30th of September 2022. And you can see a screenshot of a publication of this, or in fact, the press statement on the screen. Yes, this was a press statement issued by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources dated 30th September 2022. You can Google it. The ministry was emphatic that Akonta Mining doesn't have a mining lease to mine in the Tano Nimre Forest Reserve. And there is video evidence of the fact that despite the fact that they did not have a mining lease to mine there, they were in fact engaged in illegal mining activities there. The matter was consequently reported to the police, yet nothing has come out of it. Friends, it will interest you to know that even in Samre Boy, where Akonta Mining is said to have a mining lease, evidence captured on tape shows that the company has been mining very close to the Tano River in breach of the 100-meter reserve requirements of the Minerals Commission. As a matter of fact, the company has been found to have redirected and polluted the Tano River heavily. And if you see the state of the Tano River today in that area, you weep for Madagana. We will show you another video put together by multimedia, just about 2 minutes video, for you to see how Wuntumi's Akonta Mining redirected and polluted the Tano River in flagrant disregard for our environmental laws and mining laws. Can we see that video now?
So it's on our Facebook page right now. Akonta Mining Company Limited. So that's Facebook page right now. Akonta Mining Company Limited.
So the signpost is there. We entered. We asked the security guy, which site is this? It says Akonta Mining. So we moved on. We knew this was the site. We flew the drone, and David, the distance between the Tano River and the mining site, you can see from yourself and judge whether this is 100 meters per the law. And his mining leaks, some of them have been opened and they are entering the Tano River. As red as it is, moving straight into the Tano River, polluting it so much. 2 sites belonging to Akonta Mining, polluting the Tano on that score.
Are these pictures from the Akonta Mining?
Yes, there's Akonta Mining site. So you see the leaf. You see the leaf. So this one, I'm not the one telling you, but you can see it for yourself.
And that's why the small-scale miners are raising concerns that listen, what he's doing is illegal.
Yes.
Yet others are being arrested.
Yes.
By that of Akonta Mining has not been touched.
You see, I'm not saying it. I've heard him say that I'm calling him a galamsey. The Minerals Commission says, even if you have a license to mine, the moment you start mining in a water source, the moment you start mining in a forest reserve, you are doing illegal mining. What's the local name for illegal mining?
Galamsey.
Thank you. So he is not touched. And I learned yesterday, 3 days ago, the Deputy Lands Minister, Benito Usubio, went with some soldiers to the Tano Nimre Forest after my expose. They went there. The soldiers were very angry per my briefing, and they wanted to touch the equipment that were there, but the minister prevented them from doing so.
Friends from the media, the foregoing facts point to one irresistible conclusion, which is that the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government is neck deep in the illicit galamsey trade and will stop at nothing to cover up their complicity. The extent of official complicity in this matter is as clear as daylight. Like many environmentalists and patriotic voices, the NDC is deeply worried and appalled by the extent to which President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Alhaji Bawumia have gone to encourage and condone the destruction of Ghana's environment. They have been active promoters, collaborators, and enablers of the illicit galamsey trade. The actions through the Attorney General to continuously protect corrupt officials of the ruling NPP and the government speak loudly. Posterity will never forgive them. Indeed, as far back as 22nd April 2023, the Office of the President, in commenting on the 36-page Frimpong Boateng Galamsey report, stated that the report is, quote, a catalogue of personal grievances, unquote, and that the claims in the report were unfounded and amounted to, quote, hearsay. This was followed by an advice from the Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, on 11th May 2023 for the Dame Frimpong Boateng report to be given little attention, a comment that was widely published by the media. Little wonder that the Attorney General will in September 2023 advise that the said report lacks evidence to ground any prosecution. The sinister agenda of Godfrey Dame to downplay and cover up the Dame Galamsey report and the revelations therein was manifestly clear right from the outset. In short, the so-called advice from the Attorney General Godfrey Dame is nothing but a cover-up calculated to whitewash the incessant corruption and nation-wrecking conduct of officials of the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government and the ruling NPP. The advice from the Attorney General, principal legal advisor to the government, is a big insult to the sensibilities of Ghanaians. It's a big insult to the sensibilities of the nation. We call on the general public to treat same with utmost contempt. This is the same way the Galamsey fraud scandal by ace investigative journalist Anas Arimiyahu Anas was covered up and the perpetrators left off the hook. We must not allow this government to get away with this scandal. It does appear that the Attorney General Godfrey Dame is not interested in doing justice for the nation, but is only following after the footsteps of his boss, President Akufo-Addo, who has become known as the clearing agent of corruption. Quite clearly, this man, Godfrey Dame, does not befit the stature of the high office of Attorney General and Minister of Justice, because he simply does not give a hoot about the interest of Ghana. The NDC therefore demands the immediate resignation of the Attorney General for this dubious legal advice, which seeks to cover up serious crimes that have been perpetrated against the state by corrupt government and NPP functionaries who are destroying our water bodies and forests through illegal mining. More importantly, we wish to call on the special prosecutor, Mr. Kisia Jaben, to expedite his investigations into this matter and to immediately prosecute all those found culpable. Fellow countrymen and women, our collective survival as a nation is at stake here. Our beloved country is fast losing its flora, fauna, and water bodies. We are fast becoming endangered species due to the greed and selfishness of a few government officials, party apparatchiks, and irresponsible persons who are recklessly engaging in illegal mining with impunity. We cannot afford to sit aloof and allow this canker to fester. If we close our eyes to the evil going on, we shall all bear the consequences of the actions of these miscreants who are destroying our water bodies, our lands and forests like there is no tomorrow, all in search of gold to satisfy their selfishness and greed. This is why we must all take keen interest in investigations into this matter. We cannot and must not accept any shoddy investigation or farcical attempt to whitewash those responsible for this evil. The NDC calls on you, our friends in the media, the fourth estate of the realm, to join us to demand accountability from our duty bearers. We owe this a solemn duty to our country and generations unborn. And here, let me commend all of you for the yeoman's job you're already doing to expose some of these things. Some of you risk your life. And here, let me commend Irasu Sasaridonko. They've been risking their lives to bring us the videos we've been playing here today. I will commend multimedia. We commend all of you, City, all the stations, Despite Media, all the stations, Class Media, Power F, all of you. And my brother Kevin Taylor, who leaked this Frimpong Boateng report in the Fed. We commend you. But the point we are making is that we need to do more if we are to prevail against this evil. Enough of the plundering and destruction of our lands, forests and water bodies. All government officials and party apparatchiks who have in one way or the other engaged in illegal mining must be arrested, prosecuted and punished to serve as a deterrent to others. We hereby serve notice that even if they are left off the hook today, they will not escape the long arms of the law tomorrow, because crime has no expiry dates. Until this is done, we shall make no headway in our fight against illegal mining, and our beloved country will have no sustainable future. On this note, I would like to thank you very much for coming and ask that you keep your cameras in position.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.